Now at 10, the annual Walnut Day celebration kicked off this morning for the Labor Day weekend. Plus, the Miami Fairgrounds is hosting the Oklahoma Beatdown Derby this evening. And Christine's Curiosity celebrates with the community after being open for a year.
Starts now.
Walnut Days is back around just in time for the fall. This is your KOAM News at 10. I'm Jalen Banks. To celebrate Labor Day weekend, Walnut Days is kicking off, and part of the event will have free cancer screenings. On average, there are over 100 people that receive the screenings at the celebration. The celebration is hosted by the Vulcan Masonic Lodge.
My sister's grandfather-in-law was the honorary Grand Marshal today. He passed away earlier this year, and he has been an integral part of our antique tractor pull and our kitty tractor pull for many, many years. He was the fire chief for our rural fire department here in town, and we miss him greatly. His loss was very much felt this year, and we wanted to do something to honor him, so his family walked in his honor today.
To find more Labor Day events going on this weekend, just go to our website at koamnewsnow.com. Today is the 57th annual MoCan Labor Day weekend funny car race. The race consists of huge burnouts, rattling tires, and occasionally rolling cars. The race consists of 36 cars competing for the grand prize of $25,000. Officials say events like this helps build the community.
Well, I think it's really good for the local economy. As I say, there's a lot of out-of-town visitors here today. There's probably 3,000 people on hand, and I'll bet 1,500 of them drove 100 miles or more to get here. So good for the economy, and I think there's just a lot of racing lovers in this area.
People a part of the event says that this highlights the drag race community, and again, it helps out the local economy. My adrenaline junkies are going to love this one. Today at the Miami Fairgrounds was the Oklahoma Beatdown. It allows people to bring their busted up cars so that people can come in and beat them up. As the name says, the event is welcome to all ages.
This is an event that any age can come out and watch, from kids, toddlers up to 80-year-old people. Love this event. It's been around for years. It's exciting. There's a lot of crunched metal, fast-paced action. It's everybody's dream to go out and wreck somebody else.
To find more events like this going on in our area, just go to our website at koamnewsnow.com. A crystal store in Webb City is celebrating its second anniversary. Christine's Curiosities is celebrating its second anniversary by hosting a fair and inviting vendors from all over the city. People from all over came by to buy some crystals, jewels, and cards. Christine says her crystals brings healing to people.
Honestly, I think it's important because a lot of people use stones not just for the aesthetic but for the healing properties that a lot of them have and the other metaphysical properties. I just like to be able to help where I can, and in this world that is insane, if a shiny rock makes it better, all the better for that.
Well, we've had a consistently hot summer, and let's see if that continues. Sam, what do we have?
Yeah, for the last weekend of summer on the calendar, it has been hot and warm, but at least it's not been near 100. So we have to take the blessing as far as that goes. But we've also had some thunderstorms this afternoon, especially on radar. You can see that early this afternoon in southeastern Kansas, even some severe weather in north central Oklahoma. But now all we have left is one little shower south of Baxter Springs and north of Miami. They're on Old 69. And that's about it. They are ghosts of themselves from earlier today. The drought tracker, it's still pretty bad. We're still in extreme drought over a large part of our area, but we're seeing some improvement. And as long as we continue to get showers and storms, we'll start to chip away at the drought conditions. And I'll be back in a minute to tell you the rest of the forecast for your weekend, so you want to stay tuned.
Job rates for college students continue to improve, but perhaps hurt the loan forgiveness position. The August jobs report shows a 1.9 employment rate for college graduates, as last seen in February's 2020 pandemic period. Data experts at the Heritage Foundation says jobs for college graduates have pay keeping up with inflation and question their need for immediate loan forgiveness. President Biden has pledged $500 billion in funds to forgive $10,000 to $20,000 in student loan debt. The experts also say the average worker has seen a wage drop of 5% during inflation. A Japanese-based auto company says changes will come for one of its electric cars to help customers get tax credits. Nissan executives say they're going to make adjustments to their Leaf hatchback. The company wants American buyers to take advantage of $7,500 tax credits made available under the recent Inflation Reduction Act. The Leaf currently doesn't qualify because its batteries aren't made in the U.S. Nissan says it will make changes in sourcing, production, and sales, but hasn't specified yet what changes will allow for tax credit qualifying. For the second time this week, NASA has had to scrub its launch of its huge new moon rocket, Artemis 1. Skylar Henry explains why from Florida's Kennedy Space Center.
This is Artemis Launch Control. Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson just called a scrub for the launch attempt today.
NASA's most powerful rocket will have to sit on the launch pad a while longer after officials called off Saturday afternoon's liftoff because of a hydrogen gas leak.
It was characterized as a large leak.
It's the second time since Monday that leaking hydrogen put the launch on hold. The weather was cooperating early Saturday morning when the launch team began loading nearly 1 million gallons of fuel. But just a few minutes into the operation, engineers noticed hydrogen fuel leaking from the engine section at the bottom of the rocket.
The team tried 3 times to resolve the leak, and all 3 times we saw a large leak.
Citing safety, NASA called off the launch at 11:17 in the morning, 3 hours ahead of the launch window.
We're going to stress this and test it and make sure it's right before we put 4 humans up on the top of it.
NASA officials are going to meet next week to determine whether the rocket will stay on the launch pad or return to the vehicle assembly building for repairs. They'll also try to pinpoint a new launch date.
We're not going to launch until it's right.
Once Artemis lifts off, it'll send an unpiloted Orion crew capsule on a 37-day trip around the moon and back. A dress rehearsal that's another step towards sending Americans back to the moon as early as 2025. Thousands gathered along the Space Coast Saturday, hoping to see Artemis blast off.
I dragged my wife down here. We got here yesterday at 7 a.m. So we've been here quite a while. So it's kind of overwhelming that they scrubbed it.
But since it was a no-go, NASA officials are keeping their fingers crossed that the third time will be the charm. Skylar Henry, CBS News at the Kennedy Space Center.
NASA says at this point, it's not sure what's causing the hydrogen leaks. In a process that can now take weeks, NASA engineers will be troubleshooting the problem. The suspect that could face charges of making terroristic threats and grand larceny after he stole a plane here at a regional airport. Authorities believe he had some flight instruction but not experienced enough to land a stolen plane.
Like he right on top of our house.
Today, terror in Tupelo, Mississippi. A plane police say was stolen circled over homes and businesses in the small city. Authorities say the man at the controls, Corey Patterson, said he intended to crash into a Walmart that forced an evacuation in the area. Shamaria Robinson got a panicked call from her mother, who lives just minutes away from the targeted shopping center.
Just so close to her home.
Yeah, so close to our home. It was crazy.
Investigators say Patterson was employed by an aircraft maintenance company at Tupelo's regional airport and took off in the twin-engine aircraft when air traffic controllers were not on duty.
The pilot posted on Facebook a message, and in essence it said goodbye.
After about 5 hours in the air, Patterson landed in a field roughly 40 miles north of Tupelo, uninjured.
The suspect is now in custody. He will get the help he needs as far as whatever he's dealing with.
The FAA says it will investigate this incident. Meanwhile, local police say Patterson could face federal charges. Elise Preston, CBS News, Tupelo, Mississippi.
We now take time to honor one of our 4 state heroes. Sergeant First Class James Gregory Jr. served in the Army from 2005 to 2011. The Pittsburgh, Kansas native served in both Iraq and Afghanistan. He earned a Bronze Star, among other awards. To Sergeant First Class James Gregory Jr., we thank you, our four-state hero. And we'll be right back with more after this. Today, blistering heat from San Diego to Sacramento, a 1-2 punch of triple-digit temperatures, and two new wildfires forcing thousands to evacuate. And extreme temperatures extend across the West with record temps in Oregon, Wyoming, and Idaho. The brutal heat wave is the forecast, and it continues through the holiday weekend. CBS's Jeff Nayugan has the details.
Fueled by 35-mile-per-hour winds and scorching temperatures, a wildfire near the border of California and Oregon burns out of control, forcing more than 7,000 people to evacuate and prompting California's governor to declare a state of emergency. So far, the Mill Fire torched more than 4,000 acres, injured multiple people, and destroyed at least 50 structures.
And they would just be crying because their houses were burning down.
The intense heat wave is gripping the West, even stretching into Canada, with Arizona and California under an excessive heat warning. Triple-digit temperatures stressing more than the power grid, including LA food truck owner Carlos Campos.
How hot can it get in here?
Very hot. As you can feel it, this is like a good 20 degrees up than is outside.
The relentless heat knocked out his business for hours.
What's the story behind this?
So I had to get a brand new generator because this one got broken yesterday because of the tremendous heat.
In Arizona, scattered power outages Friday after a 6,000-foot dust storm with 65-mile-per-hour winds swept through several neighborhoods.
How you work out may be different in the near future. A Wall Street Journal report provided ways our workouts may change. Neuromuscular training will teach the brain how to properly fire muscles. Your yoga pants and socks will give you tips on how to make sure your motions are correct, and will even be able to tell you if your posture is off. These clothes may also be able to detect hydration levels. Future tech may also monitor how much sun exposure we get and let us know the best settings to work out in. Artificial intelligence will also be able to customize your workouts for you. And now a look at some of our top health stories. 2 new studies find that eating too much ultra-processed foods significantly increases the risk of cancer and early death. Some common ultra-processed foods include cookies, French fries, processed pizza, and ready-to-eat meals. One study conducted in Italy, the other in the U.S., and the study in the U.S. looked at the diets of more than 200,000 people. It found that men who ate a lot of ultra-processed food had a 29% higher risk of developing colorectal cancer compared to those with lower consumption. The study also found that women did have a higher risk of colorectal cancer if they ate more pizza or ready-to-eat meals. The second study examined more than 22,000 people in Italy. Researchers found that ultra-processed foods played a major role in the risk of early death. September is National Cholesterol Education Month. Its purpose is to educate people about the dangers of high cholesterol and to encourage them to get their cholesterol levels checked. About 94 million people in the U.S. have high cholesterol. That puts them at a greater risk for heart disease, which is the leading cause of death in the U.S. High cholesterol can be caused by a poor diet, a lack of exercise, or smoking. The National Cholesterol Education Program recommends people older than 20 get their cholesterol checked every 5 years. Health officials are hoping signs of monkeypox decline in the nation's epicenter indicate more good news ahead. New data ending August 30th shows monkeypox cases are on the wane in New York City. A 7-day rolling average shows an 82% decline from just 2 weeks ago. Officials hope that that's a good omen for cases dropping across the country. Cases have been concentrated among male-to-male sexual contact, including gay, bisexual, transgender, and non-binary. About 20,000 total infections have been reported, with at least 31 cases among children. We'll be right back.
Well, it's been hot all summer long, and of course, wouldn't you know it, the last weekend of summer, it's also been pretty warm, slightly above normal today, but that's been kind of the norm for a while. Right now outside it's looking pretty nice, even down in Seneca, Missouri at the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Pleasant evening shaping up across the 4 states. Here in Joplin, we made it up to 87 today after starting out at 68. The normals are 86 and 64, so we were above normal, but at least we weren't close to that 102 we had back in 1954. Did want to talk about Earl a little bit. Earl is a tropical storm and is expected to remain that way through most of Tuesday, maybe become a hurricane a little bit after this, but the good news is it's going to be well east of the United States and even the Bahamas, so no real big problems there. Wanted to show you radar. There has been one shower still left from this afternoon's activity over Quapaw, now drifting off down towards High Winds Casino. They're just south and west of Peoria in Ottawa County. Also, we had one shower also just east of Fort Scott, between Fort Scott and Deerfield, and these showers are starting to dissipate just a little bit. If you're heading out to the lakes, they're a little bit below normal. Grand and Beaver have been both about a foot below normal, and Table Rock Lake is a little bit worse at 3 feet below normal, but Stockton is almost 4 feet below normal at this current time. So if you're heading out to the lakes, just be aware of the low water values as they normally are. All right, let's take a look at temperatures right now. They're generally in the mid-70s across our area. 75 in Joplin, 84 though, still at this hour in Parsons, and 85 in Neodesha, 74 in Sedan, 72 degrees down in Jay. Dew points, they're up there too because of the rainfall that we've had scattered around today. A dew point of 70 in Grove, 72 in Veneta, but there are some areas where it's in the 50s, like Iola and Yates Center, where dew points are in the lower 50s, and that makes it feel a little bit more comfortable out there. Most of the area, though, is still kind of sticky. All right, your allergies look pretty bad, 9.9 today, worse tomorrow, with the ragweed being the predominant problem. Currently in Joplin, we're at 75 degrees with an east-southeast wind, and it feels like 75 because the dew point is 68 degrees on the hour. Future track forecast for tonight, scattered isolated showers tonight with lows in the mid to upper 60s across our area. Then as we go through the day tomorrow, again, warm, humid, with scattered isolated storms around the area. Temperatures close to 90 out to the west, lower 80s off towards the east, like in Monette with 84. Then as we go through Monday morning, we're going to see again isolated showers possible, mainly down in Oklahoma, and lows generally in the mid to upper 60s. Then as we go through Monday afternoon, your Labor Day forecast looks like this. Partly to mostly cloudy skies with scattered showers, mainly in the eastern sections, with a high of around 86 here in Joplin, close to 90 out to the west. Then as we go through Tuesday morning, we're going to see lows once again in the mid to upper 60s with easterly winds across our area. Rainfall is not going to be all that plentiful across our area. Isolated spots could pick up a half inch or so, but it's going to be very isolated in nature. Your 7-day forecast, 87 tomorrow with those isolated storms. That continues into Monday. And then as we go into Tuesday, 88, and then 89 on Wednesday, and partly cloudy skies for the rest of the forecast.
All right, thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Joplin softball aims to stay rolling this afternoon.
Yeah, the Eagles looking for their 4th straight win, facing Nevada in the final game of the Paige Neal Christina Freeman softball tournament. And Webb City aims to close out the tournament on a high note. Those highlights next.
Over 100
Joplin softball is off to a great start this season. The Eagles are 9-2 overall and have won 3 of 4 games at the Paige Neal Christina Freeman softball tournament this weekend. Joplin aims to stay hot, facing Nevada in their final game of the tournament. Eagles start fast. Libby Munn hits a 2-run home run to make it 4-0. More from her later. Joplin extends their lead in the 3rd. Riley Kelly floats one into shallow left. That's an RBI single. Now 8-3. Tigers answer with a big bottom half. Skylar Burns hits it back up the middle. Teresa Dawn comes home. At the end of 3, Nevada has fought back to tie it at 8, but then Munn back in a big spot. She crushes her 2nd homer of the day. Eagles back on top, and Joplin hangs on to win 12-8. Webb City is also playing in the tournament this weekend. The Cardinals pick up their first win in their first game today, a 7-5 victory over Monette. Webb aims for back-to-back wins now, facing Seneca in their 2nd of 2 games this afternoon. Second inning, Abby Jamros lines one down the middle. Callie Fields comes home for the first run of the game. Next inning, Callie Rhodes at bat here. She goes deep for a solo home run. Cardinals now, Riley Haynes crushes a home run of her own. This one a 2-run jack. To the fifth now, Kenzie Wynn lays down a bunt. Rylan McFarland slides into home. And Haynes will score as well for Webb City. That makes it 10-4 Cardinals. Webb goes on to win it 12-5. Turning now to some junior college football, the NEO Norsemen are back in action today at Red Robertson Field, part of a 3-game home stretch to open the season. NEO won their season opener last week 44-0, and today the Norsemen get to 2-0 with another shutout victory. This one's 78-0 over Gordon's Prep, and I did the math for you. They've now scored 122 points in their first 2 games and have given up 0. NEO is back in action next Saturday, hosting a tough one against Kilgore. The Red Ravens are 1-0 and hit the road for the first time this year. They enter tonight's matchup ranked 14th in the country. Coffeyville beats Dodge City 38-10. Isaiah Velez connects with Garrett Amon for 6, plus the Red Ravens get 4 rushing touchdowns, 3 from Dorian Lewis and the other from Keontae Cutler.
We got a lot of dingers and touchdowns today, man, I tell you.
We love that.
And then hopefully those Norsemen get ranked after their shutouts the past 2 weekends.
Yeah, we'll see. They got to keep it up against some good teams now. Kilgore is ranked, so next week will be a good test for them.
Absolutely. All right, we'll be back with more after this.
Gemma Pryboards.
All right, Sam, what do we have?
Well, we have isolated to scattered storms tomorrow and Monday, and then it goes into a dry period through the rest of the week. Next chance of rain will probably arrive late next weekend, early next week.
Danny?
A few MLB scores. Cardinals beat the Cubs today. Big win for the Royals as well, 12-2 over the Detroit Tigers.
Awesome. Well, that's our time for now. Remember, you can always find us on our news app and KOAMnewsnow.com. Thank you for tuning in, and that's a wrap for us tonight.
Service is provided by the Wild Side.